Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We are going to discuss episode 8 of Willow. No special background. I've been doing this for a while for my videos, at least this week, because I didn't feel like getting out everything. But yeah, episode 8, which is the final episode of season 1 or potentially the series. So in today's video, we're going to discuss episode 8 and then give a final thought with the series and talk about the way the episode left off in regards to the end of the season. So, in this episode, we finally get a closure to the whole point of the story, which is actually going to save Princess Kit's brother, Eric, who is being, well, I guess you could say he's being held captive by this evil kind of sorceress and the other creatures who have been chasing our characters since episode maybe 1 or 2. So I'll say episode 1. Yeah. So in this episode, we actually get to see Lorna Dannon finally get to use kind of the powers, which I felt like they could have, just thinking about the episode and seeing where the buildup was with that, I felt like, kind of her learning the powers, I guess could have been kind of done a little better throughout the show to kind of have this payoff. There was a weird area, and I'm going to try to reenact it and nobody make fun of me, but where she's having her powers and she's like, feeling them, like really, I guess you feel like this energy going through you, and she's like, it's almost like sexy. That's just kind of doing. And it's like, it's like weird. The way it was, I'm sorry, I really didn't do it that well, but maybe if I had more practice, like to do it. But it felt a little awkward in that area. We did see, like, really quickly that Graydon, in the previous episode, displayed his powers. That he is a sorceress as well, a sorcerer, and I felt like that came out of nowhere. But that's where we are in this episode because Princess Kit and Lorna are the first to jump down to this kind of kingdom or world here where the worm, which is this evil kind of creature that is behind this kind of other portal in this temple, is lurking and has been behind this the whole time. So that's where we are, and we see this little kind of introduction episode where Lorna and Kit are having this discussion with Prince Eric, her brother. That's where we left off the last episode 7, that he has this new haircut and new outfit supplied by this sorceress who he is now working with. And he's trying to convince Alorna and Kit to actually join in with them. So dialogue was a little awkward in the beginning. It felt like, again, that the stakes are kind of low here. The characters never really, you never really get a sense that they're really potentially in danger. So that's where we kind of move forward from there, where Alorna and Kit are enticed to go through the portal through the worm, who kind of tricks Alorna into thinking that, everything's going to be okay, that she can marry Prince Eric. And then she realizes, no, she's not going to do that, that this obvious trick. And that's where the battle ensues from there, where you have Kit kind of battling with this evil sorceress along with Willow and Graydon and Borman and Jade. They're all fighting, and there was a moment where you thought they were going to be caught, and all going really quick. I felt like the creatures that were kind of chasing them, there was a battle scene with them, but it was all behind closed doors between them and Borman, so you never get to really see any payoff. I guess you get the hint that he killed them, but all the aesthetic and buildup of these characters and just nothing to pay off. But to tell you the truth, I wasn't expecting a huge battle at the end, considering, like I said, watching the videos of, if you watch my other review of the other episodes, that the battles weren't going to be that kind of great towards the end build-up. So if you were expecting something big, you kind of knew in certain scenes in the first episodes that the show kind of starts something and then leaves you like, oh, that's what happened. Like, I go back to the wagon in one of the episodes, like, uh, Princess Kit and Jade walk off, and then they come back to an exhausted Prince Graydon, Willow, and Borman, but you kind of like felt like you missed something. So I wasn't completely surprised that they completely cut the fight scene for Borman and the creatures that were chasing him. Then you get to, I guess the best I can call her is like Evil Sorceress, who is fighting with Alorna. And I would say the special effects, like on the powers, are pretty good. Now, you have all this battle, and like I said, you have this Alorna doing this like energy that she's feeling. It's like, I'm feeling my oats here. I'm feeling this power. And eventually, she defeats the evil sorceress along with help from Kit, who gets this kind of armor, that Borman has been carrying around in his chest vest. And it works with Kit, but it wouldn't work with him. And his armor goes all around her. Kind of thought that the armor, again, looked cheap, and kind of the aesthetic of the kind of armor and the way that it kind of builds upon her remind me of Iron Man. And again, certain elements I feel like do not fit with the show and the world that has been built through the movies. So at least that is my disconnect. Maybe if someone who really didn't watch the movie as a kid and didn't watch so many times and had fond memories of growing up with it, maybe would feel less bothered by that. Now, like I said with the script, I think there's a common problem just missing a few steps and just kind of you just going along the journey and just kind of using your own imagination to try to explain things. Um, in some ways, I go back and go, why is this show called Willow when I feel like Willow hasn't gotten the proper kind of story arc and build here? I mean, the original movie, yes, was about Alorna and saving, and that's what Willow's journey is here. I felt like him creating that connection with Lorna and exploring his background and, developing himself after the loss of his wife and, his son running away would have been good for the show. It was nice that Willow came back. I felt like, when Borman was the last individual to jump to actually go on this adventure, it would have been nice to see Willow actually have that emotional moment of going back with them. He did show up, which, I was like, well, you better because, you know, I was like, what's the point of the show being called Willow if you're going to walk away at the last minute when everyone needs you? So, again, you know, action sequence, is what to be expected of the series. So, when I came upon the final episode, I wasn't surprised by anything. I already got the sense of what the show was and the feel of it. So, I would say if you're someone who is stuck by the show and expected, let's say, a huge payoff and for a moment for it to turn around, um, you're not going to get that. You're going to get, uh, more of kind of the same of what you experienced throughout the series. Uh, the unfortunate thing with the show, like I talked about when we're kind of rounding out the entire show, is the things that didn't go so well and that they did make mistakes on, which mentioned, some of the costumes felt out of place. The dialogue felt out of place, kind of sloppy there. And also, the fight sequences could have been done better. And also, in regards to, there was weird moments in the episode, which, you got to see this big city, right? And the effects, displaying how huge this world was. The same that happened when you went to the Trolls underworld kind of city or prison. Everything felt huge as far as like, I shouldn't say felt huge, but it was visualized in a huge concept. Like the city is huge, this underworld is huge. But then when you get into the sets that they built, they were so enclosed and it felt tinier than the actual visuals represented when the special effects were displaying. So that kind of felt like a little uneven and unbalanced. And again, I'm not sure which other way you could probably display that, but other shows have done it and felt very huge. I think Mandalorian is a good example. Also done by Lucasfilm, so I kind of felt like there was like, if anyone could do it, it could be, these guys. So why did I feel that disconnect there? And I feel bad because, talk about the show, and I know some people do enjoy it. Um, and I don't want to criticize it. I really don't. Um, I'm actually kind of, unfortunate to say, happy that's kind of over with. Um, but I will leave on a positive note when ending the discussion of the episode. I will say that, the visualization, you think that Prince Graydon is dead because there's a scene where the sorceress kills him, the evil sorceress, and he breaks all these little bits, and you're like, okay, he's definitely not coming back from that. But you find out as a cliffhanger, and sorry, spoiler alert, that he is alive on the other side, and the vision that's been had by, I guess, Willow about all these dead bodies, he's laying on top of them, and he sees Lorna there, and she's dressed in all this like black leather, well fitted, and she has all these creatures behind her. And a node to the original movie was this two-headed creature that breathed fire that was in that original movie in the background, along with all these other creatures. So it was a cool concept. It was like maybe like a rock and roll moment of a concept of looking back there, which I guess from the 80s, it was interesting that lots of, I guess, looking back, if I am going to give, like, trying to see the inspiration for the show, it was like a kind of heavy metal kind of inspiration, I think, for this little bit of inspiration for the show and where they were trying to take it. So I found the ending visual of her standing and having this huge army behind her in this battlefield of all these dead soldiers, kind of interesting for season two. I'm just hoping if it does get renewed for season two, that they do work on lots of these areas that just fell short in the first season. So, looking at the ratings and seeing where things are falling, you saw like the Santa Claus at least hit in the top 10, get renewed pretty quickly afterwards of the final episode or before the final episode actually aired. Willow did not break the top 10 as far as like the Nielsen ratings and how they measure streamers. So we will see if Disney actually does renew this. Now, Disney doesn't have much content as it is, but from what we're hearing, Disney is also having cash problems as well. So is this something they're going to want to invest in? But to diversify their portfolio, maybe they will, because they're thinking like, all we have is really Marvel and Star Wars, and now we have Santa Claus, but beyond that, as far as new content, really don't have much outside of those properties. I mean, yes, I think there's Indiana Jones and National Treasure, but maybe they do need Willow to stick around. So we will see what they decide. I'm kind of doubtful it will be renewed, but I could be wrong. I thought this final episode was, okay. Unfortunately, I would give it like a 4 out of 10. Visuals again pick me up. I thought the way it ended was okay. I wish they would develop the connection between the characters a little more. I didn't have any notes, and you probably could tell, but this is me just going off of memory of watching the episode and reflecting on the series overall. Like I said, my mom watched it and kind of dropped out. She was like kind of upset that the show was taking time out of her precious time. She was like, listen, I'm older and I don't want to spend my last days wasting my time on watching Willow, because she felt like it was really difficult to watch. And to tell you the truth, it was hard for me to defend. I was like, I wanted to, but I was like, it's like defending a friend or someone who just keeps on making mistakes left and right. And you're like, well, now everything you're doing is indefensible. And I have to go like, yeah, I see your point. So with Willow, I was like, yeah, mom, see your point. I can't disagree. Music choice, terrible. And in this episode, for some reason, I don't remember the music choice as much. Maybe on this final episode, I felt like by the time episode 8 came in, I was like kind of giving in that this is the choice that they've made and this is what we are at. So that's how I felt. Leave a comment how you feel about the season finale, season finale of Willow season 1. Do you think it should be renewed? Are you as distracted and, I want to say, disgusted, unfortunately, with the way that this took place for season 1? I feel like it was not what I expected. It was very difficult to get through, especially the episode with the troll kind of prison episode. I found that the hardest to get through. And thankfully, they didn't have any cowgirls come back. But that are my thoughts. And leave a comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos. Thank you for watching. And until next time, stay safe. Thank you, everyone. Bye.